of the Brookings office, and she is recently our new dietitian manager for the Northeast region.
Welcome.
She came, I believe, you guys had received the letter that was provided. Did everyone get the letter?
Yep.
Okay. Yep, that one. That is a letter that the state had sent out to the commissioners, kind of about the restructure. And so Kayla is just here to answer any questions and just provide a little bit of an insight on what's going forward.
I have a question already. Pronounce Joel's last name.
Joel's last name? We call him Joel A to Z.
Yeah.
Because he has about every letter in the alphabet.
I looked at that and I said, that's for kid in kindergarten.
Right.
Yeah, and he said it once in a meeting and we all tried to repeat it and it didn't work.
Wow.
He said it's two family names come together. So we just call him Joel.
All right. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the office?
Yeah, so the Office of Family and Child Services is going through a bit of a restructure right now, and that will take effect on September 1st. And so what's happening is there'll be a division between the Office of, or between Community Health Services and WIC. And so with that, it will just allow our workforce to, better work with their caseloads. They will have better knowledge on the policies, stay up to date on best practices, and help with their management of that caseload. So I do come to you with a couple of asks. The first one being that with the current position, the clerical position that is open at the Codington County WIC office, to move that to what's called a WIC Public Health Assistant. And it would allow this person to take participants' heights, weights, non-invasive hemoglobins, ask assessment questions, provide basic nutrition education, and then issue benefits to those. The benefit behind that being that Cody and Kaya will be going to community health services. We'll want someone here to be able to continue to provide your WIC participants, a place for them to go to receive their WIC services that here in Watertown. The state would reimburse you at a higher rate if you choose to go to the WIC Public Health Assistant. So currently the per participant rate is $6.59. That would go up to $8.11. The transition might require some traveling, just for training, potentially going to other communities to provide WIC services that may no longer have a WIC nurse or a dietitian physically in that location as well. We would reimburse for that travel cost and that time that they would be gone. And then you would get reimbursed like the per participant rate for the number of people that they would see in that particular county that month as well.
Okay. All right. Was there another ask? Or is that it?
Yeah. The other ask being that could we be involved in the hiring process with that person, like the interview and stuff like that, since as well. So that's
Okay.
ask number.
Not sure if this is a future agenda item or can we
It is,
take
yeah,
action?
it
So we'd have to get it on the agenda for an upcoming meeting.
You will need to send Brenda
Yes.
an email
Yep.
on exactly what you need action
On
taken.
there. Yep.
Okay, and the next meeting will.
September
be-
5th, she said.
Correct.
Yep,
Yes.
I told
Okay.
her that kind of
Okay.
whatever came from
Okay.
this.
Sounds good, yep.
What I'll put on there.
Chair, the question that I have, Cody, is now, what about the position that we're vacating right now? Will this individual do that as well, or not?
So like Karen's old position.
Yeah.
So that's what we would be asking for to be filled as the WIC Public Health Assistant.
Correct.
So they would be able to do like the duties that Karen was able to do.
That was my question.
Plus be able to do
Okay.
some like WIC appointments and things like that.
That's what I was wondering.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
it's not an additional
No,
fee, it's just.
no, it would just be
More
replacing
duties.
that full-time position that Karen was
Yeah.
in. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Gable.
Yeah, just a quick, so the this other position, would it require any special certifications, or is it like I know the community health worker thing is kind of getting to be a thing in the state.
Right, I believe, I gotta double check the job description, what it requires for education. high school diploma, post-secondary education in a health-related field is desirable, but we'll do training and everything like that with them, like
Okay.
as far as like the assessment questions and going over all of that.
So a 2-year associated Lake Eric LTC was adequate.
Mhm,
Okay.
I believe so, yeah.
I had one other question then. So how is that gonna change services at our local clinic for people who walk in the door? I mean, what's gonna be different?
No, we would try and get them on the schedule, as soon as possible, and having this public health assistant there to be able to take on that caseload will help with getting them, onto that schedule sooner, hopefully.
Okay, all right.
Both of the services all services will continue as is in the office. As myself and the other nurse Kaya are going to the community health side. And then we also have a dietitian that covers our office along with others that she has been. And then with this public health assessment, they would be doing the WIC side of things. So no services will change for clientele, what is offered or anything like that. It would just be that this person would be able to, like I said, do the secretary role plus pick up some caseload as well.
Thanks.
Yep.
Okay. Our allocation of
Now-
resources.
Yeah, go ahead, Red.
Commissioner.
Question. You mentioned that she would have to travel and we're taking cases outside our county. Do we do that now already, or?
No, not right now.
So this is
No.
just a new thing that's going with this position.
Right, yep. So we're kind of having teams, and then so this person may have to, go to Clark potentially and provide services there. And it might only be once a month. We're not quite sure what exactly that will be, but I'm at least once a month is what I'm going for.
The question I have is Natalie, our HR individuals here, she will be involved in the interviewing process,
Mhm.
and I'm out of the loop. I won't have to be there.
Me too, I'm out on this
All
one.
right, very good. But actually, it's a state. Yeah, I mean, this position will be under the county. Okay, not under the state, but under the county. So Natalie needs to be involved.
Correct.
And I will if you need me, but
And your staff, of course, will be
Like,
involved
yep,
in that.
myself.
Yes,
So
yep,
that won't be a
And the
problem.
dietitian team lead that is housed in our office would
Okay.
be taking that.
Right.
The hiring. Yep.
so do you need motion to?
No, there's not going to be any action. She'll get it on the agenda for next week.
Okay.
Yep, I'll come next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Informational purposes only.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, commissioners, any other questions? Commissioner Gable, do you have anything else?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Perfect.
Anything else?
Good.
Nothing? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yes.
Have a great day.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to item number 7, monthly reports. Andrew, come on up, Emergency Management Office.
Morning, Andrew.
Morning.
Good morning. Well, over the last month, actually August 5th, the request for public assistance for the spring flooding this year was due. There were a handful of entities that I reached out to a second time just to
Remind him.
remind them or to, help them work through some stuff, get them into touch with the right person at the state to get passwords reset, stuff like that. Search and rescue assisted with Camp Chance on July 26th. A local business wanted to talk about emergency response plans. They cited several different hazards that they wanted to understand the response to and better know what they're supposed to do. A lot of that fell in the fire department's realm. So I invited the fire department out there. They had about 10 firefighters, paramedics show up as well. Very productive afternoon, I thought. Very informative, and it's kind of neat to see some of the facilities and capabilities that the local businesses have as well. So at one of the school's request, I went and toured the school, helping them to identify severe weather shelter locations. I mean, a lot of times there's no perfect place, but there are places that are certainly better than others. So tried to get a second set of eyes on that and, provide suggestions and so forth. We had a region meeting via Zoom and a state radio drill. Motorola installed 14 radios and search and rescue rigs and and one in each of the local fire department rigs. So each of the local fire departments have, or volunteer fire departments have, one vehicle, the SP25 compliant radio, and then search and rescue is good to go, as well as emergency management. So we're all set for the conversion there.
The conversion is set to take place on October 6th, I believe, for the Watertown site. Is that right?
I would have to go back and double check.
Yeah.
I know it's coming up, but.
Yeah. Okay.
Then for cyber awareness, I think that we're getting that training going pretty well. I think that we only have one commissioner on that list. But I think that that's going well. The company that we are working with has been very good. Marquise is, kind of showing me the ropes, and it's a pretty slick program, but I mean, without knowing how to do some of the things, or without being shown, it would be a little bit tough to navigate, but he's been great. Then, yeah, we had our exploratory call for DR 4718, which was the spring flooding one, and we scheduled our recovery scoping meeting for next week. And then other big thing is that search and rescue had their raffle and auction night. Successful event again this year. Very much appreciate all of everybody who supports us in that, the businesses, the people. Again, it's amazing, what search and rescue has done with the support of the community. So big thank you to everybody who participated and helped with that. With that, that's all I have for this month, I think.
That's it. Okay. Any questions, commissioners?
I don't have a question. I have a comment. I think after watching the news this past week of the disaster in Hawaii, I think we realize the importance of a good emergency management department and working together with all the entities involved there. So keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right, let's move down to item number 13, Andrew, since you're here. This is the discussion possible action to enact the burn ban resolution. Appropriate. So what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think we need one at this time.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
More discussion on that, commissioners? All right. Let's get Brad up here. Good morning, Sheriff.
Did a double take when I seen Cindy sitting over there this morning.
Yeah, it's like old
Solid
times.
green.
Told her out of retirement.
It's all a dream.
It's all a dream. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Want to grab one and pass them on down?
Great.
All right. Well, we'll get started with the commissary monthly balance sheet, the first one on your page there. The bank balance end of June was $23,366.06. In the lobby ATM booking kiosk at the time of the snapshot, there was $1,686.74 for a grand total of $25,052.80. You can see that at the snapshot, resident balances were $2,471.32. Commissary items and tax not dispersed, $3,947.09. Funds balance, $18,634.39. Grand total of $25,052.80, which leaves our original back to the $15,000 that we started with. You'll see two lines down there, the 30% commission on the commissary. So the county's total, they earned $1,297.22 last month on commissary. You'll see a new line right below there. That's the phone commission and total kiosk commissions there for the $2,023.84. Our contract with Securus has run out and service was getting bad, so we did upgrade to Prodigy. It's the same company that we use commissary, and now they are doing our inmate phone services and also our video visitations and everything in the jail. It's a new system. They came in and installed everything for free. We have a little bit higher interest rate that the county gets for phone and everything else. So you'll see that line there of some income coming in monthly. This is about 2 weeks of income. It was about mid-July when we got that up and going. So I don't know if that'll be the average amount, 2 to 3 to 4 grand, something like that on top of the commissary monthly, but figured update you there. So
What kind of percentage do we get off the phone?
there's with the new phones, you can rent a tablet for, I think it's $5 a day. You can get the phone, do video visits. You have the tablet for yourself for the day, and then you can do programs, you can do things on them. You can video visit. So there's different fee schedules breaking down for email, kind of email texting. So you can email text family, you can call family, or you can video visit family. So each one of them has a different breakdown. I think just going off the top of my head, I think it was 28% commission on our fee for the phone calls, and like the text messages, it's so many cents of text or something like that.
So just to clarify that, because that's interesting to me, the inmate rents a tablet for $5 a day.
The inmate will rent the tablet, and then I'll give them access. That's their tablet for the day,
Okay,
where they can video visit, they can do programs.
unlimited.
It's unlimited.
Wow.
It actually gives them a few options
Yeah.
to kind of keep them busy while they're in there. And
Mhm.
so,
Now, when you say a day, is that a 24-hour period?
yep, within the 24 hours. Yeah. Well, we have to take it back and charge it at night when they're locked down. But,
Sure.
within that day that they can have them. So
Well, that should take some stress off some people.
it does, it kind of helps out with the jail and the
Yeah.
facility we got, kind of helps keep them occupied. And
Well, they get to see family and stuff.
Yep.
That's good. That's good.
so the video visit part has been really nice. Like say family can actually visit right from
Mhm.
home. Everybody's got a phone or an iPad, they can visit right from home. There's a small fee with it, but
Yeah.
that saves you the expense and time of having to come to the detention center, wait in line, schedule time, make sure that it works for everybody, and to get into our little cubicle to see your loved ones. So
But the cost for the tablet per day versus the old cost of a phone call is really,
the price wise, as you can see, they're definitely using them. A couple $1,000s here in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's our commission that the
and
county
so
gets.
you can, so I'll just choose myself as an example. So if I wanted to put some money on somebody's book and then use it for a tablet, that would be agreeable, just like a phone card.
Just like the phone card, there's no longer any more phone cards that you can come in and buy.
Sure.
So you can actually go to our website, and then there's a link to Prodigy where you can put money on an inmate's account, and you can actually set it. It's actually really kind of neat. So if you're a family member and you want to put money towards their bond, you can say that this money is earmarked only towards bond. Or you can go on there and you can actually say, all right, here's some money. You can use it for phone calls. You can use it for commissary. You can use it for video visit. You can use it for what you want. But so you can actually do that right from home, from your debit card, right to the
Wow.
inmate account there. So then when they get out, we have actually a check thing. We can write them a check, print them a check, and or give them a little gift card, Visa gift card. That's what we do 99% of the time, but gives them the remaining funds that they have left. So it's actually working really good. So.
Good.
Mr. Chair, just a quick question.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
Yes. Sheriff, how many tablets do you have, or can you say?
Oh, I think we started with 18, and I think they've given us more because they've
Oh, it's plenty. Okay.
used a lot.
Mhm.
Okay. Our population's actually gone up a little bit. This morning we were sitting at 74 inmates, so the company kind of works with us a little bit. They don't want a bunch sitting on the shelf,
Right.
but if we're using them, they're gonna send us more. So they kind of work with us that way, which is a really good thing. So,
And vice versa.
and vice versa. Yep. So.
Okay.
All right, if we jump to the next page there, we'll get the monthly balance sheet for the checking account for the sheriff's office here. If you look, you'll see the end of July, balance was $9,718.01. If you look at copy fees collected, we collected $31.50 in copy fees. Collected $8,180.47 in sheriff's fees. We collected $191.54 in miscellaneous accounts. And warrant fees, we collected $425 for the grand total, $8,828.51. And these are balanced back to the $889.50, which we started with. You jump to the next page there. It looks like it's up on the screen there. Go over some sheriff's office activity. For the month of July, the sheriff's office responded to 724 cases and calls for service. You can see that's up considerably over the whole last year. 724 compared to last month was 551 to 618 to kind of give you guys an idea. So definitely a busy July. For accidents, we did 7 accident reports. There was a lot more accidents that we responded to, but 7 reportable accidents. There was 74 warrants served, 214 civil papers served, and 3,968 transport miles. Of those 3,968 transport miles, 22 people were transported and there was 15 trips. If you scroll down to the middle there, you'll see some jail activity. Our average daily population for the month of July was 62.55. Our high ADP was 69, and that was on the 28th. Our low ADP was 58, and that was on the 9th. Like I said, today we're at 74 inmates. Our number has been creeping up towards the end of July and even here in August a little bit. So if you look at our Scram bracelet, the 24/7 program, we had 18 people on the Scram bracelet, 11 people on remote breath, 36 people on the twice daily PBTs, and 49 people on the twice weekly UA, for a grand total of 114 participants on the 24/7 program. And you'll see we did 236 bookings for the month of July. And on the very bottom of the screen there, you'll see some of the funds that we collected for the month of July. And out of county contracts, we collected $10,830. Work release fees, we collected $2,820. 24/7 fees was $5,800. And Scram fees collected was $3,709. Any questions on that, or? Okay, just wanted to touch base on a couple things. The vehicles that we ordered last year for this year, we still haven't seen them yet. Sounds like they're in production, so hopefully we get them by the end of the year for budget purposes here. One other thing, the intercoms that we ordered last year for upgrading the intercom system in the jail is not in yet. We talked to them today and it sounds like they're hoping by the end of this year they'll be able to do that. So like I say, that was a budget thing for last year, but so one thing I'll be bringing up is vehicles again for next year. Hopefully we can get a little bit early start on them this year again. So that'll be coming up here in the next month or so. I'll be working on getting vehicle quotes for next year. So
Brett, all the car cameras and body cameras and that project is complete now.
all the
With
body
the-
cameras, everything is up and going. Car cameras are up and going. The guys like them. They're working great. No issues. It's definitely a big upgrade to what we had. So
That's an automatic upload.
automatic upload on the vehicles and a couple of the body cameras that we're testing right now.
Good. Awesome. All right.
Warney Plumbing is actually in finishing up the ceramic sinks that we talked about many months ago. I got everything put in and they're getting rid of all the ceramic in. We have one sink combi unit that's left to put into the Juvie boys and one downstairs, and they'll be done. So that's actually turning out pretty good. We're starting to get busy again. So with inmates.
Right. All right. Any commissioners comments or questions for Brian? Nope. Okay.
All right.
911 meeting Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, I think we make it. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Sheriff.
Did we
All
review his budget?
Uh,
Last time I did.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I thought.
All right. Is there any other budget requests or reviews? No? Okay. All right. We'll move on to item number 9, presentation by Johnson Controls representative regarding the HVAC project at the detention center and the government building. Steve, good morning. All right. Come on up. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. I'm going to introduce John Paul. He's from Johnson Controls. He's out of North Dakota. He's the one that's doing our HVAC system for the detention center and government buildings. And I'll let him, if he needs to introduce a little more, otherwise I'll let him go on about the construction phase.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Paul.
Good morning, guys. How are you, everybody today?
Good.
Oh, sure.
It's fine.
So yeah, I guess I thought I'd stop by today just to kind of present, I guess, progress to date and go through the construction agreement that we put together. So it's been a few months. We've been working hard on your project in the meantime that you've seen us. So trust me, there's been a lot of hands that your project's been in over the last few months. including my construction team, our design team, myself, and a lot of other people have been working toward the goal of coming to here today with a construction agreement. So I thought I'd go through a little bit about the process and then the scope of work and ask for any questions. So the process that we've been utilizing is really to try to identify all the projects that Mr. Mollengrath had on his list to start, which included the detention center upgrades for heating, cooling systems, so we looked at all your air handling units, any of the existing control systems that were tied to those. We looked at the chilled water systems and the boiler plant that runs the facility. And we try to identify the best way to lay out new equipment to run the facility for the next 30, 40, 50 years. So the first thing we do after getting that project development agreement is to sit down with our engineering team and kind of do a rough idea of where everything is in the building. So we brought our team out here. We walked the building alongside of our HVAC project team, the leaders that actually do the installation with us and have a vast amount of experience on what fits where in the building. Anytime you have a retrofit, it's always try to identify the best equipment for the scenario that we're in. As you can imagine, air handling units and large pieces of mechanical equipment have changed in design over the years. And sometimes it's like shoehorning a big old new box into a spot that used to be a lot smaller. So it's really a good system we've come up with of working together with our factory representatives that design the actual air handling equipment, and sitting down on the site with the engineer and everybody on the programs they need to identify what fits where. And once we have the layout of all the large pieces of equipment of where they're going to sit in the building, then we draw on the details. So that's what we've been working on, is getting the plans situated to a point where we can come up with a hard number on this. So we did the background drawings on the detention center and part of the courthouse here, and laid out all of our large equipment, all the piping that goes to those, sized all the piping for the chilled water systems, the hot water systems. Put together electrical sheets so we can understand what goes where for electrical conduits, conductor sizes, and understanding of the layout of all that. So we got to the point where we have everything laid out, systems identified, and how they're going to work. We then I also worked together with our team to put together a controls estimate on what controls go on what's the best thing to run the building going forward. So currently you have pneumatic controls in that building. All those pneumatics are going to be upgraded to the latest and greatest building automation system from Johnson Controls. So any new piece of equipment is automatically going to get a new controller that goes along with it, and the old pneumatic system is going to be gone. After we after we put together a rough outline, or what I would consider a lot further than a rough outline, this is probably 70-80% complete on the design side. We sat down with your staff, Mr. Mollengrath, Sheriff Howell, Chief of Corrections, Matt Blackwelder, Commissioner Gable, and talk through what we had laid out so we can identify any missing pieces of information. So a couple of meetings was had during that phase to make sure that you have the right scope of work. So that's my biggest job, is to make sure we didn't miss something on the scope of work that needs to get done, that this is the time to get it into the project. And so we don't have to ever come back to you guys for a change order or any of that thing. So there was a few things that were added during that process that we thought, or the sheriff and Mr. Blackwelder thought were important to have completed. Including some of the stuff in the Sally port to get upgraded, some controls out there that needed to be done, some exhaust fans. We also talked through the design on the kitchen and making sure we had everything identified, that the areas where they're having problems, because they know the building much better than we do. And we want to hear those things. So if our new design wasn't addressing it, we made some alterations to change that. Even the smell that comes in the building when you're mowing the lawn or blowing snow or something to that effect, we try to address those issues as well. So it's all good input. We put those into our plans and got it to the point where it is today. And then we went out and met with several vendors to get pricing for all the equipment. and all the tradesmen for the piping, the sheet metal, electrical, and try to get the best price possible. So if you're at all familiar with construction, the last couple, 2 or 3 years, we've seen some huge escalations in prices. And these budget versus actual prices sometimes vary quite a bit. I've had really hard meetings in the last couple of years of about, 20, 30, 50% or more over my budget. In this case, I was pleasantly surprised. We were able to get all the things we wanted into the project and still arrive at our budget. It was slightly over, and we dialed it back down as hard as we could to get it to not go over budget. So we didn't give up anything on the design side that you requested. So that's the main thing here is that pricing is good. It's something that we are pretty happy with internally, that we actually got to our budget. But pricing is only good for 30 days. I can't hold pricing past that, and it's always dependent on the market. So we've seen variations in some of these prices, 28, 30% higher than the low bid. And we really worked hard to make sure that the low bid was good number and we didn't miss something in our scope of work, or they didn't miss something in there. So we made sure that all of our vendors had the exact scope that we were discussing with you guys. And the next steps now is, after this construction agreement is signed, is to finalize our designs. So get it from 70, 80% to 100% complete. And that's going to involve our staff and the vendors that we're choosing, to make sure that they're all part of that discussion, that we're not trying to put something on paper that they're not agreeing to. So it's going to be go to 100% in the next couple months. And once that's complete, we'll come back and we'll talk to you guys again. And all of you guys will be part of that process again. If we miss something, if we need to dial it into the project, we will talk about it at that point in time and try to make sure it's identified. And there should be no surprises on this project. So the big thing right now for schedule is once we sign a construction agreement, I just turn it over to our construction team to drive schedule. And so their goal is always time, and time is never on their side. So they're going to first start with getting all the equipment submittals pulled together, which a submittal for equipment is telling you exactly what we are purchasing for air handlers, chiller, boilers, all the pumps, accessories that go with that, electrical equipment, controls equipment, all that stuff is going to have a document that's associated with it. We get that approved by our design team. We get it reviewed by you guys on the owner side. And once everybody agrees that, yep, we can order it, then it's lead times. We're waiting on lead times for some of our equipment, 20, 30 weeks. Some of it could be longer, depending on factories, and it changes constantly. So, and that's why our construction team is always worried about schedules. It's hard for me to commit a schedule until after this meeting is signed and we have time to put together a schedule based on reality this month, or trying to get that in. So I can tell you the goal right now is to start as soon as possible on some of these pieces of construction. Anything we can get done this fall before snow flies would be preferable. So there is a couple pieces that we would like to get done on the possibly doing your roof, and possibly starting on some of the chilled water lines. Most of it's going to end up falling into the spring. And we'll be working as soon as we can shut off the chilled water. We'll be working to get that piece completed, get the air handling systems one at a time. And it's going to be meticulous how we go about doing this in a detention center that's occupied with staff and residents. Detainees is how we call it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
People that are in there. So yeah, so it's going to be a hands-on experience for your staff to make sure they communicate well with us. We've had some really good meetings, I think, with your staff and your sheriff and Mr. Blackwelder to talk this through. And obviously it's gonna be could be an hourly change in what happens in that building. We don't know who's coming in, when they're coming in, and what changes. But we're going to work hard to make sure that all of the people that are involved in this project are respectful of your guys's facility, that we're not any sort of security risk, that we're always taking extra special care of how we're going to go about doing the project. So certain areas will be out of their way and it won't affect anything. Certain areas obviously will be in the middle of all that. So I guess that's the big thing, is to make sure that we all understand there's things that could make this slip. Hopefully, I think right now, from what we can see, we're pretty good with that schedule. So we would expect to be completed with most of this, if not all of this, by the middle of summer. This is so today, if we were to move forward with an agreement, we were trying to get to that point where we have a schedule that's gets us out of here by this time next year. So that would be in an ideal world. So
This construction agreement, Mr. Paul, does that lock in that dollar amount then?
yes, so we'd be
4
locked in
million.
for that 4 million, and that would take us through the construction entire thing. That's a turnkey number that gets you all the design and construction services, materials, equipment underneath that one agreement. So
Anything else?
I guess I'm
Good.
open for questions. If you wanted to talk through scope, I can.
I do have a question, and I know that you thought about this, but there's gotta be a time when everything's has to go dead. I mean, to make the switch over, out with the old in with the new. How do you handle that? I mean, you know, you can't.
Yeah, so
You
the
know, there's gotta
chiller's
be
gonna be off.
a break time in there
Yeah.
where our prisoners are going to be affected as much as anything, you know.
Well, yeah, there's gonna be days that there's gonna be some affected. So that'll be, that's gonna be part of our construction scheduling days, is we're gonna block this all out. So we're not gonna tackle every air handler at the same time. So we're gonna try to identify how can we do this in chunks,
Yeah,
so that we're gonna have downtime in the office area. And then we're gonna, when we have prison cells or whatever you wanna call them, their jail cells, those will probably be the highest priority for you guys to understand exactly how we're gonna do that. So I don't know exactly how that construction schedule is gonna work today,
yeah, I know.
but it'll be blocked out. It'll be a process that we work on together, and your team will be part of that process to make sure we're all on the same page.
It's gonna be so important to have really, really good communications with the sheriff
Absolutely.
and with Steve and the jailer to get all this stuff. It's gonna be tricky.
It will be
And
tricky.
that's all my concerns too. Paul and I, we've had that discussion, we're gonna have weekly meetings. And we're gonna have updates, who's gonna be in our facility, they all have background checks. Those are a lot of
I'm sure our,
concerns that we've had. Timing, you can't shut AC off on a day like today, because that would be terrible. for everybody. You'd have all kinds of issues, but like I say, those are things that we discussed, and timing.
Yeah.
On all these are important. You're gonna work with us.
Yeah, I think
Right.
this is gonna be a very important to communicate. So we, just to elaborate on our communication plan, so we have the people that have been involved to date, myself, Travis Pulowski, who's our development guy. He's a mechanic from way back. He knows HVAC systems inside and out, and how to drive schedules and how to drive contractors to those schedules. We have a project manager coming out of DeSmet, Terry Holland. He's gonna run all the paperwork for you guys. He's also gonna help us run that schedule. On site, we're gonna have Brandon, who is our project foreman, and he's currently living in Brookings. He's moving to Watertown, which is very convenient for this project in particular. So he's gonna be in town every day and be able to make sure that we do not lose any sleep over the schedule. So as things come up and we need to get down here as a group to reiterate any messages, we will do that. Because construction is tricky, it just is. So
Oh, yeah.
It's tricky enough if you have an empty building, but when it's an occupied building or a detention center, it just adds another level of communication. So there's a lot of people that are going to be making sure that your project is scheduled correctly first. And then that we're holding to that schedule and nobody slips from those dates. So that'll be the trick. Every week, we might have to make compromises depending on what the sheriff has going on in that building. We don't always know that a week ahead of time.
Mhm.
But there's gonna be a backup plan, a contingency plan. If we can't do this area, we're gonna go work in this other area. So those kind of pieces will all be part of that scheduling discussion.
good.
No doubt that'll be watched closely, I'm sure. So that's good. All right,
Mr.
Commissioner
Chairman,
Gable?
Yeah, just a few questions. So first one, has a state's attorney taken a look at this, Steve, just to be,
Has not, no.
okay. And then just, I don't know what you guys think. I mean, I'm not too concerned about it because these guys are very experienced, but so I guess that leads me to the other question. What kinds of exclusions do we need to just kind of be aware of? Like, some of them are pretty obvious, but like, like hazardous materials or asbestos mitigation, or are those kinds of pitfalls that you see in other facilities?
Yeah, so I guess we talked a little bit about this, and I could probably reiterate some of those items that we feel like there might be risk, there might not be. We don't know a couple things about your building at this point. So your roof replacement, roof is covered with rubber. We've done some core tests where we're pretty confident where we poked was fine. But if there's water that's waterlogged your insulation, that's something that could lead to a cost add after the fact, because there might have been a leak a long time ago and it's soaked into your insulation. That insulation, if it's wet, if it's soaked, is useless. We need to replace it. So those would be something that I can't see. I don't know the answers to today until we get that roof peeled back and we start seeing everything that's underneath there. So I've excluded some of those things. As far as a list of exclusions, I can tell you there's nothing on here that's really out of the ordinary. I try to keep it pretty simple and have this conversation. If we need to really make any changes or have any discussions about what is excluded, I'd be happy to have that. So it should be very basic stuff. So we've included, all the things that we felt was necessary for these scopes of work based on our experience and working together with municipalities and counties. So.
Okay, thank you. And then last question was, for billing, is it possible we might be able to pay for some of this calendar year, or is it, are all the bills likely to come in the next calendar year? Or is that just too
We would,
speculative?
well, there's going to have some bills up front. Just we need to get paid for some of this up front to be able to pay for the time we've had into it already. Plus, to get our materials and equipment order, we have to cut checks as well. So we have upfront fees that we will be charging. So yeah, financially, typically we lay out a schedule of values and understand, how we're going to track the financials on the project. If you need us to sit down with your business manager and talk about like the calendar, how much we foresee being charged, that's a common request also, is to ask us to lay that out for you guys. Like, how do you foresee the bills coming in? And we can guess what it's going to be.
I think that would help our auditor. And
Well, I believe Steve did budget some of this in 2024 also.
Yes, it is.
So
do you know how much you have in there?
About 50% or so. A little
Okay.
over.
So you've got some options there. You can pay for as much as you can in 2023, as much as allowed as completion. And then we did anticipate that not everything would be spent in 2023 when Brenda prepared the 2024 budget.
Okay.
So Steve, did you budget the whole amount for this calendar year and then some of it again for next year, or?
This coming for this year, but then I re-budgeted for next year.
So that means whatever Steve, we estimated what Steve would not spend this year. And we use that as carryover cash to prepare the 2024 budget.
Okay, all right. Okay, I was hoping that maybe we could shave some off the 2024 budget, but if you've already done that, then I guess, okay.
Yeah, because I went and asked up front and somebody about approximately how much should probably be spent this year with Johnson Controls, and they gave me a rough estimate. So that's where I went forward for budgeting for next year.
Okay. All right. Any more questions, commissioners?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment, and I guess prior to our discussion, I mentioned this before, that this stuff, we're farmers and whatever, we're not plumbers or Johnson Control people, and we have to put a lot of faith in your company, and we're depending on you to come through. And my experience in the past has been with Johnson Controls has been very, very good, and because there's a lot of money for the county that we're spending, and a lot of responsibility for the sheriff and the jailer and our maintenance people here. So we're going to lean on you pretty hard.
Well, I appreciate
And
that.
we appreciate
We
everything
want
that
to
you're gonna do.
exceed your expectations.
That's what we like to hear.
Our goal is to, set a precedent for your county and to use Johnson Controls going forward for these kind of projects. So my goal is to exceed any of your expectations you already have, and I have the team to do it. I'm confident in our team.
Yeah.
So that's the good news. We've been around since 1885. We're not a fly by night here at all. So
Yeah.
we're gonna be here long after this project's over. So if we have issues, we will sort through them. They're not.
That's what we like to hear. Thank you.
All right, Cindy?
Just a little bit of history. Johnson Control did our design build concept 20 years ago. So they are the ones who did the heating, the lights, everything when we went through this 20 years ago.
We finally got that paid off, didn't we?
We did. We did. It was design build. It was a little different than the way you're doing it now, but yes, we did pay that off.
Should be noted that Commissioner Johnson, you are not part owner of this company.
No.
No conflict of interest.
I don't have to recuse myself. I can go ahead and vote.
Right.
I feel comfortable.
All right, sounds good. All right, so I guess we need to talk about what direction we want to go here. It's action to authorize the chair, vice chair, no, that's the next one, but presentation, I guess that's where we're still at. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to present and give you the information to make a decision on. So any questions that you have, let me know. We'll try to get them answered.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Paul.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item number 10, and that is action to authorize the chair, vice chair to sign Johnson Controls Construction Agreement.
So
Second,
Motion by Waterman, second by Johnson. Any discussion?
I think you have a copy there. Why
I
don't you
do.
sign 2 copies and then we can have Steve get Johnson Control signatures.
I've got another copy here too.
Yep, there's this one.
The only question that I would have before we get to that point is this something that we want vetted through our state's attorney's office before? Or do you feel comfortable moving forward with a signature?
I feel, given the reputation of the company, the longevity in business, the job they've done for us in the past, I feel confident in getting this accomplished today.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much. I will sign that and we'll get that over to you. All right.
You need another one?
No, we're good on that. I'll sign it here in just a minute. Moving on to item number 11, action to authorize the chair, vice chair to sign a letter to the city of Watertown to terminate the lease agreement. Commissioners, you remember that in recent weeks, we have decided to terminate the lease or to lease the office space over at the Watertown City Auditorium located at 125 South Broadway, effective October 31st, as we have begun to make that transition to our new facility over on 19th Street, which is over by the VA clinic over there. So motion by Johnson, second by Schwer. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And Cindy, I have this.
I have
copy
the
too.
original
Do you want me-
for
Okay,
you over here.
okay. So can you hand that back over to Cindy and just put those two together and I'll sign them after the meeting? Cindy,
Okay.
if you will, please.
Pardon me.
Number 12, just a note that the board will not meet on September 12th due to the SDACO and SDACC annual convention. We'll have some commissioners attending those conventions, so we will not be meeting, and that is September 12th. Item number 13, we've already talked about. Number 14, action to approve abatement applications. Do we have?
Nothing for 14, 15, or 16.
Okay, moving on to item number 17, action to approve personnel changes.
One personnel change, Eric Lewis has been hired to be a part-time corrections officer. So this would add him to the current pool of part-timers.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Moved by Waterman, second by Schwer. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, and motion carries on number 17. Number 18, action to approve travel requests.
You have one for the extension office for an employee to do state fair set up. And I believe that is not an overnight trip. And then you have weed and pest employee to attend a state weed commission meeting and tour. You have West Nile virus employees to attend a mosquito conference, which is also an annual event coming up.
Okay, we'll take all those in one motion. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Moved by
Second.
Johnson, second by Gable. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 19, public notices, a possible quorum of commissioners could be in attendance at the one that I mentioned before. The South Dakota Association of County Officials Annual Convention's coming up September 12th and 13th in Sioux Falls. Commissioners, do you have anything else that we can have?
Also today, there's an after four, John Mo's, and all the commissioners have been invited out to the John Mo's farming operation over by Florence. Did you guys get notice of that?
Yeah.
I don't know what time that is from. It's after four, so it must be after four. 4 to 6 or 4 to 8 or 199 degrees supposed to be today, so dress accordingly.
Right. Could have a quorum there at that. Anything else? Commissioners? No? All right. Any old business? Any new business? Anything for the open? Any public comments? Commissioner comments for the open? All right, do we have a need to go into executive session? We do have a need. Under what purpose? Under personnel. So this would be executive session per South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2. And this would be for personnel.
Move to adjourn to
Number 3,
executive session.
number 1. Oh, 1, okay. So 1 and 3 are the purposes. Okay. Motion by Johnson,
Second.
second by Waterman. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? We are into executive session.
No business, Chairman,